All right, good afternoon and welcome. Let's have a silly wave to bring everybody into the live stream. Brilliant to have you here. Kushbu and Nalani, I think Chelsea will be joining us in a second. And today is our AMA, Ask Me Anything series about the program that we're going to run over the summer, so the Startup Summer program. The idea about today is to get questions out, to try and answer them off, and then to create a blog article for anybody who's interested in the program so that they can see these kind of FAQs and understand what's going on with the program. Happy to take any questions at all across today that relate to this program and see what people are curious about. Before I get to your questions, I wonder if you guys could introduce yourselves and just say what you're doing in Canopy at the moment. Go to you, Kushbu, first.
So my name is Kushbu Soni. I'm currently a student at City University studying financial economics, and at Canopy I am an intern who's focused on female enrollment in this the Startup Summer.
Fantastic, thank you. Nalani, who are you? And over to you, Chelsea. Thanks for joining us.
My name is Nolani Lloyd. I'm a rising senior at Princeton University, and I major in public policy and international affairs. And at Canopy Community, I do business development and marketing.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here. Looking forward to your questions in a minute. Chelsea, who are you?
Hi, I'm Chelsea Guardiola. I just graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison in legal studies, criminal justice. I'm here at Canopy Community as an intern, working in the same position as Nolani for business development and sales production.
Okay, fantastic. So it's all about the Startup Summer program today. Looking forward to your questions. Let's share with everybody who maybe hasn't seen this before, the press release about the program. So the whole premise of the program is we're going from idea to MVP to pitch ready in under 6 weeks. It's a program that's been put together to be flexible, so that it kind of load balances across the 6 weeks at about 10 hours per week, but all the content is delivered asynchronously, so you can read and watch and listen to things as and when you've got time for it. The mentoring is done on demand, so you schedule sessions with 17 mentors within Canopy, some of which are in the US, the UK, Portugal, and India. You schedule with them the time that you want, when you want it, with the people that do the specialist things that you want the help with. And then there's peer support with other people that are on the program and other founders within Canopy. And we currently have nearly 1,000 founders within the community who are on the portal and the platform at different times across the month. So you get a chance to talk to lots of different people about what you're working on. They'll probably be a little bit ahead of you if you're a first-time founder, or there might be other people that are pretty much in the same boat on ideation programs. So lots of different stuff. And then twice a week we have synchronous points within the program, 5 o'clock on a Monday, where the community can come together as they want and just chat about stuff and get to know each other. And then the most important thing from the program's perspective, 12 o'clock every Friday, UK Lisbon time, is a call to go through the content, to go through the outputs from the week and the things that we've been doing together, and answer any questions. So all of that's kind of in here, in the press release, and anybody who wants to kind of look at that, that's on the blog page for Canopy Community, if you want to go to it directly. So first questions then. Does anybody want to go with the first question today? What do you think we should, what do you want to know, and what do you think we should be telling people about this program? Maybe I'll go to you, Chelsea, first. Let's get the Wisconsin perspective. What do you want to know?
I was just kind of curious. There are already so many startup programs and accelerators. I just wanted to see what you thought was so different about this program from all of those other programs.
Absolutely. So it's interesting. We tried not to make the same mistakes that other programs have made. And I've been involved in a lot of programs over the years. So we've tried to refine it. And we've got an always-on ideation layer, which in Canopy, we also ran recently the Unidates program, where we learned a lot of lessons about particularly what younger founders, sort of in the 18 to 25 age group, really want to see in a program. So it was more about micro learning, it was about practical skills, it was about having tangible output from the activities and the hours that actually delivered some value. And believe it or not, I was asked an awful lot on that program for a certificate, so we made sure that there was a certificate at the end of the program. But what this program really does is it helps you do stuff to get your idea working. So on every bit of content, on every week block that we go through, there is a task and output that really helps you move the idea forward. And so you can tangibly see how you and your idea are progressing. And I think that's one of the really big differences. The other thing that we've done is that we've made it, for the majority of it, asynchronous, so it can fit into the schedule that you've got. And we really did design this with the working mum in mind. In fact, Ali was the use case, the test case for this. She's a mom with 2 kids and her own startup and a partner and life and other things going on. And we made it so that Ali could do it, and then hopefully everybody else would find it easy to accommodate with their own lives. Right? Did I answer your question, Chelsea, or do you feel like you've got a follow-up for that?
I think so. I feel like a lot of other like startup programs usually don't have the goals. I think for me that's the biggest differentiation. The goals at every week so that you're able to tell.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, Nalani, what's your first question today on the AMA?
My first question is, what habits separate founders who eventually succeed from those who give up, in your opinion?
I think one of the first things is really wanting to do it. So entrepreneurship is one of those things that doesn't necessarily come easy to people, and you have to kind of grind through some of these the activities and the things. They're not always going to work first time. And the biggest single sort of factor for successful founders is just that persistence, that kind of drive to keep going even when things aren't working out quite so well, and to treat each failure as an opportunity to learn rather than something that's really stopping you. And I think that mindset shift is really huge. You can't necessarily sustain that for a very long time, but as you're trying to progress a new idea into the world, seeing each moment as an opportunity to learn and progress and try something different is massive as you go through. Most people, or a lot of people who struggle with this, think I'm going to do this and it's going to work. And actually the mindset is, I'm going to try this and it's probably not going to work. I'm going to learn from that. I'm going to try something else. And by the time I've done that 3 or 4 times, I'm probably going to get it to work at that point. Does that answer your question, or what do you think?
Yes.
You want to? Yeah, sure. Okay. All right, Kushbu, you're the newest person around the team at the moment. So what's your first question?
So I wanted to know how this program can help me find out if my idea for a business can be successful or not.
Okay, so one of the first things the program's going to ask you to do is to write a video postcard to yourself so that you're visualizing what your future looks like. And then you're going to see each week if you're getting closer to that future. So that's one tangible way you're going to see if you're moving forward. To actually understand if the idea is going to work, what we're going to get you to do is put down all the different ideas that you've been thinking of, to look for the problems and the friction in your own life. And really, we like to encourage entrepreneurship that starts with solving a problem for yourself, and then solving it for other people that are like you, and then looking around for other people that care about the same problem. And then we're going to help you use design thinking tools to look at the desirability, feasibility, and viability of that idea, and to break down the analysis of that, and to work on the things that are the most desirable and the most feasible, and then work out the business models that go with that. So you should be able to tangibly see your progress against those 3 things. We call them the 3 lenses of design thinking. So you'll basically see like your thermometer of desirability of the idea filling up, the feasibility, can it be done and can you do it? And then the viability, can you make some money out of it? You'll literally see it become more tangible as you go through.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, these are some good questions. You're making me think on the fly. All right, has anybody got anything else you'd like to ask? And I see there's a few people watching the AMA live, so if you want to put some questions into the chat, feel free, and we'll see if we can handle them as we go as well. All right?
Kind of going off of that last question, I was wondering, like, how do you personally define success, and then how would you characterize success for the startups at the end of this program?
Oh, I like it when you give me a good tangible question. Thank you. Okay, so at a basic level, getting through the program is success itself, because it's an experience, right? And all of the stages are experiential. You're going to have new experience by the time you're finished. We treat entrepreneurship as a verb, not a noun. So you're not just going to know stuff, you're going to have done stuff. Like when we say you need to interview some customers to understand what they really need, we're going to ask you to go and interview them. We're going to help you analyze what comes out of that. You're going to have a genuine experience of doing that in the program. And we're going to support you with how do you ask questions and help you understand what people's answers are, etc. And we're also going to use LLMs to interpret some of those, the transcripts from those interviews, and build out an ideal customer persona and then iterate on that. True progress, true success by the end of the program for an individual is to see if their idea is worth pursuing further or not. That's actually a really big outcome, to say, no, actually this idea isn't worth pursuing, I think I should do something else instead. But hopefully more ideas get past that stage. And if you've got like the best possible outcome from it, what we've got is an investment showcase at the end and an opportunity for some of the ideas that go through here to actually pitch their idea in front of some real investors. And a genuinely perfect outcome would be that they raise money off the back of that in the showcase. And as we saw in the Unidays program, 2 of the ideas were invested in on the day, 3 got invested in on the way to the showcase itself. So there's plenty of opportunity for that to happen for folks on this one. Okay. All right, Nalani, time for question number 2 from you. What have you got? And then I'll share the program syllabus and how we're going to run through.
I was wondering, if you yourself were starting from scratch as a founder today, what would you focus on in your first 6 weeks?
It's all about the customers. It's always all about the customers. There are 3 main reasons why startups fail, and this is actually one of the vids that we have at the start of the program before you get into any of the main content, which is looking at these 3 reasons and trying to keep those in your mind as you're going through. So the number 3 reason why startups fail is not having the right amount of money at the right time. Number 2 reason is not having enough multidisciplinary members of your team to get everything to work through in your idea, and that team not staying together for sort of 2 or more years. And then the number 1 reason, and the reason we focus so much on customers, is basically no product market fit. That we build stuff that we think is awesome, but the customer doesn't actually think enough of it to put money in to pay for it, and that is an adoption that doesn't hold up during the window of opportunity we have to get the startup moving. So we talk about 2 windows in the startup. One is the money window, like how long can you literally keep going for, and the other window is the life window. So doing a startup is one of those things doesn't fit into your life very well. It kind of is all consuming for a period of time, and lots of things get in the way of that. Births, marriages, deaths, boyfriends, girlfriends, all sorts of things happen that make it impossible for that life window to stay open, just like all sorts of things happen for the financial window not to stay open. And navigating that is really huge, but getting customer traction quickly means that most of the time the financial and the life window stays open a bit longer. And so we try and work systematically through these 3 things and make sure that the obsessive quality is on what does your customer really need? How are you building out something that really helps them? And some people frame it as what's the problem they're trying to solve. All right, you happy with that? You got any follow-ups?
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing my best here. I'm doing my best. All right, I'm really glad you didn't brief me on the questions beforehand, because it makes me feel kind of think on my feet. All right. So, right. So, thanks for getting involved today. So, appreciate that. And for early stage founders joining Startup Summer, what's the one thing the program helps them crack first? Go-to-market, fundraising, or product focus? So, for still, the number 1 thing it'll focus on right at the beginning, it's basically finding out if anybody cares about your idea, and then interviewing those people to find out how much they care about different aspects of what their real needs are. We do 2 kinds of interviews. One's like an exploratory interview, basically tell me about your experience of stuff. And then the other one is a validation interview, which is based on your experience of these kind of things, which of these is your biggest pain point? And then we build a product roadmap that really fits to those pain points. And the phrase you'll hear a lot in the program is like, what's the line of sight between what the customer's told you and what you're building? So I hope that answers your question. All right, let me just drop over to the projects, the syllabus thing, and see, just sort of run through what each week's going to be about. So there we go. So here's the program schedule, and you guys can download this from the checkout link, which is available through the press release into the space where you can actually book your spot. So the idea here is, as I mentioned before, you've got your content, your peer support, and your expert support, and the synchronized moments where you can all get together. And then over the different weeks, so there's a welcome thing, which includes basically the content that you get to immediately is like the welcome message, the books and podcasts, which you can find useful as you go through, a vid from Ronan about personal efficacy and how you actually build your personal brand, and then one of the keynotes from me about why startups fail. And the task in that first welcome piece is to do the video postcard to yourself about what's it going to look like when you finish the program. There's also available to you in week 1 a benchmark and an example of the outputs from task 1 to task 7 that have been done on other programs, so you don't have to start from zero with everything, and you can also put those into your own LLM when you're building your outputs and do a kind of review cycle with it. Okay, Chelsea, you dropped out and you can again. Here we go. Right. Generating your ideas is sort of in week 1. So where do the ideas come from? And you kind of make a list of those ideas. And there's that whole technique about going around your day and building up that journal. And we've got a load of interviews from investors, so you can keep investment in mind right from the beginning. These are real investors telling you what they invest in and how they make their decisions. Then week 2 is all about customer discovery. So it's all those interviews that I've been talking about. And your output from that is this ideal customer persona stuff, the ICP. Then in week 3, it's about the team and looking at the feasibility of doing things and doing a skills audit in the team and what the founder triangle is to make a strong startup. The output from that is a founder skills audit using the templates and stuff that we provide. Then in week 4, it's building the MVP, kind of planning and developing and testing and baking AI into that stuff right from the beginning. And the output is your test and learning cards, which is all the strategizer stuff. Week 5 is all about pitching the idea, and we try and encourage you in the task 6 to do a sort of very short story of 4 slides, which is the same format we use in our demo nights. And then in week 6, it's all about building the 90-day plan from here. What do you need to do? What are the elements that haven't been done yet? What are the foundation stones that you've now laid for yourself with the idea? And then at the end of that, we've got the showcase. So we'll take 5 of the best ideas from the program, include them into our global demo night, and get the panel investors along to kind of contribute feedback along with the peer groups. So my question to you guys is, as you've not been in one of our programs before, what am I missing from the syllabus that you would find helpful, because you will be going through it yourselves, right? You know, what do you need that isn't there?
Something I want to know is, if we aren't able to stay on track with the syllabus, how are we able to catch up?
So every Friday, you've got the opportunity to come together and get some help, and hopefully we trap that sort of drift each week. But there's no fixed schedule. There's no reason you have to finish exactly on time. It's very flexible, and you've got the peer support and you've got the expert support to help you as you go. And the program, although it runs over 6 weeks, it will be open for 66 days for everybody to complete within that time frame. If you want to be part of the showcase, you need to finish in time for that showcase in September. But otherwise, you know, it's all your own skills that you're developing, so go at your own pace. Great question. We've got another one from Vasil here. Answer the question, what are you looking for in the founders you accept into Startup Summer 26? Great question. Right. I'm going to tell you my old dad joke, because I am an older dad and I get to use old dad jokes from time to time, right? So in the coaching at Canopy, we have a little test which is put together around this joke, which is how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is 1, but the light bulb has to want to change. So for founders that come into this program, we want you to want it. If you don't want it, we're not interested, right? There's no point. We're not trying to drag you through something. Some of you will be on scholarships onto the program. Some of you will be paying your own money. If you don't want it, don't do that. If you do want it, we want to work with you. And it doesn't matter what background you come from, what subject you studied, where you live, how much money you have or haven't got in your bank account. If you want to do this, we want to help you. If you don't want to do it, please don't waste our time. We've got many other things that we could be doing. Okay. And in the latest program that we ran, which was the Uni Days one, we took 100 ideas through an 8-week process. We took everything from biodegradable pregnancy tests to homomorphic encryption, SaaS platforms, children's toys, all sorts of things along the way. And of those 100 we took through, I think it's about 54, 55 finished the entire program and were thriving. And the 10 that went to the showcase, as I say, 2 got invested in the day by Simon Squibb, 3 got invested in on the way to the showcase. And the founders that got the most out of that program were the ones that just grabbed every opportunity, hustled us till we were almost crying for time in our diaries because they were booking so many appointments. And other mentors were calling me up from around Canopy saying, look, these guys are just hustling me too much. Can you get them to calm down? That was a sign that the founders were doing what they needed to do to make their dreams come true. So that's what we're looking for. I hope that helps. All right. Any more questions anybody wants to ask? Krishna, do you feel you know enough now before you start on this program on Monday?
I feel like I do, but I just wanted a bit more information. Obviously, you talked through the syllabus, but week by week, what exactly are you expecting? You sort of touched on it before, but what exactly are you expecting from the business owner?
Okay, so a person on this program is going to see new content drop to them every Monday morning at 8 a.m. And they're going to be able to watch that content, listen to that content, read that content. There are transcripts for everything that's watching or listening to. So you can drop those into your own LLM as well. And we expect and hope that you will work through that content because it will teach you something useful. If you already know that stuff, it's just a great way to recap if you've never seen that stuff before. And we've assumed everybody who takes part in this program has zero startup knowledge before they begin. So we've brought everything back to that basic point, but it's still good for refresh even if you feel you've done it before or whatever. And then by the end of the week, for every week that you're involved, there is a task to complete. So once you've worked your way through the content, give a go to the task. And if you struggle with the task, either go to a peer for some mentoring and some support, or go to one of the experts and book a on-demand session to get some help with the task, and then review on a Friday. We really love it if everybody can come along to the Friday session and talk with each other about what have they achieved in that output and how did they go about it. And what you tend to find is there's a variety of approaches to things, even though we give an example and a template, etc. And some people get really creative about it and some people get really stuck. And when you see each other's sort of outputs from the week, you can actually learn a great deal. Even the great ones kind of fill in a few blanks for themselves. And then we take one of those and we offer it as a benchmark into future programs as well about this is a really good thing that somebody's done. So that's what we hope everybody will do every week. There's 6 weeks. By the time we get to the end of the 6th week, people will be pitch ready for the showcase.
That's great. And I also wanted to ask, do you need to have an idea before joining, or can you think of an idea while you're on the program?
You can think of an idea while you're on the program. It's great if you've already got a couple of inspirations, but one of the things we get you to do in that make a list thing is basically look around your world and see where the friction points are, see where things are just annoying you and you're finding difficult, and there's probably a startup idea in that. Okay,
that's great. Thank you.
All right, Chelsea, you're giving me that look that says, oh, I haven't heard this before from Stu. Is there anything here that you'd like to dig into a little bit, double click on, dig into a little bit further?
Well, I think a lot of this program focuses on, the potential of being successful as a founder. But I think with a lot of startups, there's a very real potential into failing, which is, part of growing as a startup. So I was just wondering how this program would help new founders potentially navigate through failure, or help them give the steps to prepare for that.
Yeah, the biggest thing we're doing here is we're making a safe space of people who are at the same level. So you can kind of fall into that very happily. You can kind of just fail within this community and support each other in that moment. You've also got, like I say, nearly 1,000 founders within Canopy who've all gone through this journey before. And when you reach out for peer support, pretty much everybody in that group will give you a hand and talk to you about the ways they maybe struggled with something before. And then the experts are there to say, okay, I've been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years, some of them, and they'll be able to talk you through how to get through that particular problem. So there's always help here. So you've got a sense of belonging. You're amongst people that are going through the same pain a lot of the time, and you've got this wisdom, both of the community and of the experts that sit there in the mentoring role to help you through it. And we just expect some form of failure to be part of the process. This isn't going to go right first time, right? It really isn't. I've founded 11 businesses so far, but a couple of those were horrendous failures, right? We've really gone through the mix on those things. Does that answer your question? Any follow-up you want? Okay. All right. I'm really pleased to say we've got another question here. There's an investors interview week. What does that involve? Does it mean interviews with real investors, or is it more about practicing how to pitch? Okay, great question. So in that first week, we've curated, I think, 5 or 6 vids, which are interviews that we've done with investors in the past. Some of them are from SEIS funds in the UK, some of them are from US investors and so on. And what they're basically there to do is so that you can watch those and understand firstly, investors are people, and secondly, they make decisions in certain ways based on the sort of business model they have for their fund. And this is outlining for you what those kind of business models are. So when you're putting your ideas together and you may be thinking about investment, you can think, which one of these investors am I actually trying to get to put money into my idea? Because they don't all do money in the same things. And then when we're doing your storytelling and getting your pitch ready, we're almost going to say to you, in fact, we will say to you, pick one of those investors from the first week and color everything up in this pitch for that person. And when you give the demo or the pitch, sorry, in our showcase, imagine they're there watching you. And maybe they will be, maybe they're one of the people that we'll invite along. Okay, so we know all of those people. I've interviewed them all personally. That's part of the join up here. This isn't just about learning an academic version of what is entrepreneurship. This is really doing it and then really connecting with these kind of people afterwards. Okay, hope that helps. Right, last chance then. We've been doing this for 25 minutes to see if there are any more questions around the place. Nalani, what do you got?
I was just wondering, since the program is asynchronous and people might be coming from different parts of the world, if someone were to miss like the weekly meeting, is there another way for them to communicate with other people in the program?
Yeah, absolutely. So there'll be a community layer where people can chat to each other whenever they want. The last group also chose to set up their own WhatsApp group, so they just chatted outside of our control on things. It's one of the reasons the program is for 18 years and above, is because some of those things happen and we can't control the safeguarding for people under 18 in that area. So it's all done on your own basis, your own opt-in kind of approach. And then we won't be sharing email addresses, but you can choose to share those email addresses between you as you go. In the first week, we'll also do a buddy up session, which is where we divide however many people are on the program into two, and we make them peer buddies with each other. So they're kind of like accountability partners as they go through. So you've always got somebody to chat to. And then the last thing is the Friday sessions are recorded, and then the recording and the transcript of that recording goes into the program area so that people can watch those back and leverage that. So might be something was talked about that you want to go and watch it again and sort of dwell on it a little bit. That's great. But if you miss the session for whatever reason, you've always got that to go back to.
Okay,
And
that's great.
what we want to do on the Fridays as well is bring people who are experts in the content from that week to host that week. And if they're not available, then I'll do it. Okay. All right. Anybody else? One last chance. Chelsea, you answered everything done? Nalani, everything done? Kushbu, everything done? Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for being here for the AMA. I think we've shared all the links into the chat. I think I've answered every question. Thank you very much for those. If there's anything anybody else wants to ask afterwards, please write to us at summer@Canopy Community and let us know what you're interested in, and we'll get back to you. One of these three lovely people on the call will reply to that inbox, or maybe I will, I don't know. and then the other thing you can do is, if you want a scholarship place, then you should also write to that same email account and just tell us why you want that scholarship. We've got, I think, 10 of those available that we want to give away. Otherwise, it's just £99 for this program, no equities involved. So you keep all of your idea, keep all of your startup, okay? So that's it for today. Thank you very much. We'll turn this into a blog article now that'll go out onto the Canopy site, and you're welcome to read that and get back to us afterwards. Let's just give everybody a little wave back, and we'll see you all on Monday when you start the program, okay?